Smugglers Cove.
Aliens and Earthlings. I'm Kutzky the Space Pimp.
And I'm Tony Tallboy. Welcome back to another episode of Smugglers Cove. Yeah.
Tonight is our last installment of Krista Brown's 255 philosophical questions.
That it is, That it is, Kutzky, that it is. 255 questions. We are just about at the end. You said it was 25 left.
Yeah, I did the quick math.
The quick math.
230 plus 25, 255.
I would have taken so long to calculate that.
Check it, man. I that one I could do. The other one was like, I was dividing numbers. I don't even think I was supposed to be dividing numbers.
You tried to put your faith in me on that one. And that was never a good idea. No. Like, I'm not a phone a friend in the math Olympics at all.
Nor am I. Basically just sink and swim. Diane's good at math. I call her. She can do that.
Well, I figure like that's just one of the skills lawyers have to get microchipped into their brain, if nothing else.
Oh, when she was a kid, she won like some math championships. She was in the newspaper in Newfoundland.
And now she's married. Anything can happen.
Hey now.
Well, I'm just math championship. We're just talking about nerds, like.
Fair, but it doesn't really float the same way as a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Intelligent women are really, truly to be sought after.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why isn't it happening more often?
I don't know. Well, I think now... Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, let's blow that up.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. Maybe another episode, a bonus episode, where we tackle misandry, misogyny, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
But I think first things first.
First things first.
First things first. And we discovered over the break that, you know, it does, that's how pipes work. Just so everyone in the audience knows, you need to be able to take the stem out so you can clean it. And I was just too worried about breaking my newfound love. But I will not break her heart.
As you should.
Actually, I think this has to be a boy pipe.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a woman-looking pipe. You know? It might be beautiful, but it's got such a rugged beauty.
It's literally too rough around the edges.
Truly.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
One's a little finessey over there. It could be like a transitioning pipe. Or maybe it's full-blown female. Who knows these days? I do know something these days, and it is how to contact my spirit guides. Today, forever and ever now, forever, as always, we will be pulling a tarot card at the start of each episode. Right now, we're pulling from Stephen D. Farmer's Animal Spirit Guides deck. You have seen this in the last couple episodes. We pull a card out of this each time to get the sound of the animal that you will have heard in the intro to this episode. So I pull it here, and then we record the episode, and then afterwards we record the intros. So last episode we got honeybee. So we'll have to find some honeybee sounds for the intro of episode 11. And here on episode 12 we are going to have TBD. We'll just kind of shuffle and wait till the card pops out or flips over, feels wonky, who knows. That goes. A little shuffle here. The card was kind of peeking. Come on, spirit guides. Guide my fucking cards alive. Show me what the spirit hides. Come on, fucking spirit guides.
I believe in you each and every day. We are letting fate pave the way. Your spirit guides.
Spirit guides.
Spirit guides.
Spirit guides.
Do what you must and do what you will. We know our podcast is not swill. Oh, spirit guides.
Spirit guides. Spirit guides.
Spirit guides. Now available in 12 flavors.
There it is. We got 2.
Ooh.
Oh no. Yeah, we do have 2. I think
A
we'll go
meerkat and a walrus.
Yeah.
I think in true tarot fashion.
We'll go with the meerkat.
I think we have to go with both.
We have to go with both. We will go with both. Good lord. Alright.
I mean, you think about it. Okay, hear me out.
Yep.
I need to relight this. But anyway, think about it. In the last podcast, the last episode, the penultimate episode of this series, we had the honeybee, which was not a new card, and now we have 2 new cards. Fate, my friend. Fate.
Just wait.
As the honeybee taketh away, she giveth plentifully.
I like it. So, meerkat. If you see that, you see that. I don't know. Can't really tell. Meerkat on the bottom here says, get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. Does that mean we're contacting the Honeycomb Boys?
I feel like we are the Honeycomb Boys.
We are the Honeycomb Boys. Are they laser tags? There's another word that rhymes with tags. Meerkat. Ding, 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 ding. Get support from a trusted group of like-minded. That rules them out. Just kidding. Anyways, the people in your life would love to offer their support to you. That's nice. Your only job is to receive it, and, indeed, sometimes even ask for it. Those whom you feel closest to and trust the most are the individuals you can rely on to be there for you, especially when you really need it. People who are dealing with dire illnesses, and People who are dealing with dire illnesses and have the support of friends and family members usually fare the best. However, you certainly don't need to experience such an extreme situation to take advantage of the love and the care that others have to offer. Write down a list of names of people you trust the most, and then go back through it and identify 3 traits in each of these individuals that make you trust them. When you're finished, you'll not only have a good idea of the qualities in those you rely on, but also a clear notion of the characteristics that make a person trustworthy in your eyes. Sure, you've been burned or disappointed at one time or another, when you've trusted someone and were let down or betrayed. Everyone has experienced this. So now you may be afraid that if you let others in and count on them for support, something similar will happen. Those memories, consciously or subconsciously, will not only filter out any chance of being disappointed or hurt, but will also serve to keep others who are trustworthy at a distance. Works both ways. Look under that filter and listen to what your gut instincts tell you about a particular individual. How do they match up with the list of characteristics you find trustworthy? Take a chance and let yourself receive love and support. Associations, family, community, group support, vigilance, observation, intelligence, energy, conservation, communication, resilience, protectiveness, grooming, and playfulness. That's the meerkat. So we gotta reach out to somebody and say...
But what does the walrus say next?
Use your massive dick... What? Remain vigilant about the current situation. Pay attention to signs and omens and let them dictate your choices. That's who we decide to reach out to, I guess.
Well, in a way...
Wait for the...
You kind of reached out to me with, like Meerkat, you kind of reached out to me today with your problem to discuss that.
Yeah.
And then, well, the walrus is telling you what to do next.
My trash problem?
Yeah.
Well, remain vigilant about the current situation, pay attention to signs and omens, and let them dictate your choices. Walrus. Signs and omens show up in a myriad of ways, from the wind's rustle of the trees that make it seem as if they're whispering to you at a barely audible level, to the rainbow that appears just before an event in which you're participating. When you're pondering... Do we have to go on a parade? When you're pondering any kind of question about your life purpose, relationships, career, or even everyday concerns, such as whether to actually take the vacation that you've been planning, you can ask Spirit to give you a clear and specific sign. Then watch, listen, feel, and allow thoughts to flow. While you may not always get absolutely clear responses, more often than not you'll pick up on signs or clues through your eyes, ears, sensations, and sensations in your body, or thoughts that seem to come from out of the blue. You may even have vivid and remarkably lucid dreams that you can easily recall in the morning. Look for the unusual and repetitious. For example, if you hear someone at the supermarket talking about Phoenix, auditory, spot a billboard advertisement with the word Phoenix prominently displayed, in brackets, visual, and then recall a period of time when you lived in that city, feeling a calmness and joy, sensations, in brackets, when you bring up that memory, cognitive, okay, Jesus Christ, guys, these are all clues. It could be about the city of Phoenix.
Clues, you say, Watson.
City of Phoenix, Arizona. Or it could be a subtle way. It's a fucking clue that he's giving you the goddamn... He's laying it out for you with all these brackets. It could be about the city of Phoenix, Arizona. Or it could be a subtle way that the spirit guide, Phoenix, is calling you. Offering his help when you're ending one cycle completely and beginning the next one.
Much like this series, season, whatever we're going to call it, of a podcast.
Touché. Yeah. We call on a group to...
So it seems that we might need to just look for signs on what to do next.
Yeah.
Like, we do kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
I mean, we always should be...
We have an idea, but I mean, if an idea comes to us is better, we reach out to a group. We contact fucking University of Stanford. Ask them for an actual list of philosophical questions. Or we could contact Trudeau and ask him for an actual list of Krista Brown questions. Goes both ways.
I would love to see him dress up as Krista Brown. And it would suit him almost as well as his escapades with blackface.
I think he dresses up as Krista Brown on a daily occurrence, on a daily, day-to-day dailiness, every day. Yeah, he looks like a chick sometimes, or maybe Krista Brown looks like Justin Trudeau. That's what I'm saying. Alright, back to life, offering his help. Phoenix is calling you, offering his help when you're ending one cycle completely and beginning the next one. As in the metaphor of the phoenix rising from the ashes. Yes, got you. Omens are perceived in the 4 ways mentioned. If you don't get clear signs right away, keep your question or concern in your consciousness for the next few days. Journal about anything you find significant and look for repetition. When you see an animal or a symbol of that animal showing up repeatedly, it's most likely an indication that your spirit guide is present. Trust the signs and your discernment of them as they're one significant way that spirit guides you along your path. Associations, fluidity, watchfulness, ingenuity, alertness, transitions, gregariousness, omens, sociability, earth, water, survival, competence, adept, copious, wordsmith, circulation, shamanism. Walrus. So we will find our 13th episode's topics via a group of some sorts. That'd be my literal interpretation We'll let you know on episode 13.
Well, I also feel that I might have jumped the gun about that relating to necessarily the podcast, but I tend to do that with the tarot readings that I do too. Like I told you before, I get too literal about trying to figure out exactly what it is instead of kind of being like, okay, just understand.
Well, it does fit to, fuck's sakes here, it does fit with the transitioning, because we're finishing up this list. Mm-hmm. The asking a group is interesting to me. I mean, maybe we'll find some group that can help us with a question list. I mean, I don't feel like we're incapable of figuring such a thing out, but that's probably not the point.
No. Well, it could also mean that we're going to find someone who has an actual interest in
making a list for us?
Well, or even just giving us an idea of where to go, or kind of mentioning something to us that we had not previously thought about.
Like ontological arguments.
Yeah.
No? Good.
Listen, we've had enough of ontological arguments in the past couple days.
Yeah. Well, it's a saint. Leave her alone.
Well, after what you did to her phone, I think we have to.
Love you, Auntie Marg. So, the last, hopefully not the least, set of philosophical questions are about art, music, and literature. Got a couple blurbs here, Tony. Do you care?
Art, music, and literature are essential ways that people express themselves and preserve culture. The quote then reads, "Art is the window to a man's soul. Without it, he would never be able to see beyond his immediate world, nor could the world see the man within." By Lady Bird Johnson. And here are some questions to help you think critically about what art is and how it impacts you.
All right. Well, straight to it as she always is. What makes something art?
I think art at its base form is an expression of the artist. I know that when I was in college, I talked to a guy and he was like, art is something that makes you feel something, which that's not, I think that's too loose a definition, because he was like, pornography is then art. No. Like, to me, that you can have erotic art, yes, but pornography, that's pretty soulless in a lot of productions. I think, it's not really speaking to your greater purpose.
And ancestral in a lot of cases these days. I would say it's something you create. Like, it is... The only way that it's not something that you create is if you yourself are such an expression of something that there's a distinct way about your mannerisms that makes you and yourself a piece of art.
Yeah, but so that kind of ties into my definition of that. You're expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And
I'm thus supporting you.
Okay, there you go. Well, try as you might. It all comes back to me. Art, I win.
Yeah, I agree with the expression. Obviously, it is an expression. And the clear, ones you can pull of drawing, painting, writing, creating something visual, sculpting, any of the visual mediums. Food.
Architecture.
Yeah.
Really, again...
Architecture.
Architecture. Good fuck. But really, again, anything that you put your soul into is then art, right? Because then it has that feeling of you. Photography.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, something you take time to...
Time, passion, care. You put yourself into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's how you can tell, a soulless photo from one that actually has that feeling when you just pipe. Mm-hmm. Obviously art, the Eric Nording put his handiwork and time and craftsmanship into this beautiful piece of art. Like,
so, you gotta put some time in.
Yeah.
Dedicate. Leave a piece of yourself and print it on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think true art comes from actual care. Like, because then you see, we call it graphic design is art, yeah, but then you see, so this would be part of design on the front of the mic,
Yeah.
right? And that's, someone taking care, but it's kind of soulless because someone needed to make that appealing to corporate figureheads or whatever you want to call them. The stuffed shirts needed to appeal to that. It's not really got a heart and soul in it. It's just a nice, pleasing design. It's beautiful, but I wouldn't say it's art, in a sense.
Well, compared to some other mics, I mean, I guess if you're talking that way, it's like the core components that make a microphone might not be considered so much art, but then how you package the microphone, then it becomes a piece of art. Mass-produced in this case, but somebody took care, at least the first time, to get the design right.
Yeah.
And they were also clever because it's a blue ball. I think he's saying something about his wife. We're on to you, blue ball. Alright, you want to do anything more with this?
I think we kind of covered it.
Alright. Number 232 is some art better than other art.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because you're expressing, while expressing yourself is beautiful, Mozart is, I would consider, like a high level of art as opposed to Cardi B. WAP is definitely an expression of who she is as a person.
Yeah.
But I would say that obviously Mozart has a much more cultural and significant emotional value than whatever the crap WAP and Cardi B is.
Yeah. Yeah, with music it's pretty clear. There is just some junk music. Because I always hate the idea that art is subjective, like, to a degree, a bit, but there's also art that's just, it is fucking immaculate. Whether you like it as much as somebody else, there's where you get to play with your subjectivity, but you don't get to declare it as garbage just because you don't feel as passionately about it as somebody else.
Yeah.
So
we had a teacher in college who did fine art, and she was really hard on one of the guys in her class because he drew comics.
Yeah.
And she was like, comics aren't art. But then she turned around and would say that found art was art. Do you know what found art? So an example that we saw in a video she showed us is this hoity-toity, big city, maybe it was Paris, I don't know, anyway.
Like the grilled cheese that has Jesus' face? Is that found art?
Basically. So like the example we got is like she found this tree growing through a fence and she like cut that off and brought it to an art gallery, and that was found art. And I was like, you're saying that's art? And she was like, yes, it is. But comic books aren't? Get fucked. Like,
yeah,
that's absolutely, like, found art is you could even say that it's beautiful and how it came about, but there's beauty in maybe what you prescribe to it, but there's no real soul in the creation itself because it was just like it came to be.
Well, it's kind of like the universe is an artist.
Well, absolutely.
So I was driving down the road and I saw this stop sign, and there was a vine growing, like, kind of poking out the top of it, like almost like it had a poof of hair. So I stopped the car and I'm like, this is going to be coming up the middle of it, because there's no other way, like it wasn't wrapped around. And sure enough, like closer inspection, it had grown up, like way down on the ground and then shot up through it. I took a picture of it, of course, and then I disparaged some comic book artists immediately afterwards, because that's what you do.
What can you do, Frank Miller?
Yeah.
You can't draw a stop sign with a plant growing through it.
Trey Parker, you dumbass. Look at this stop sign by the Coliseum.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but objectively, some art is better than others.
Yeah.
Subjectively, some art is better than others.
Yep.
But if you're saying WAP is better than Mozart, you're wrong. You're just objectively wrong on that one.
Yeah. I think you actually, you should get your brain checked. I don't even think it's, the fact that you're wrong is the least of your concerns right now.
The fact that you think you're right is...
You probably have a tumor.
Yeah.
You're hemorrhaging. Get well soon, please.
You're definitely hemorrhaging any kind of common sense or dignity.
Number 233. Does art need to make a statement or have a deeper meaning?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
No.
I think it really just comes down to the artist expressing themselves and putting it into a piece. You could do, folk painting when people just paint something really nice. Like my mom will just take something and paint really cute stuff on it. She once did a black cap chickadee on a big saw blade. It was intimidating. And they had this cute little chickadee on a branch. That was pretty cute, neat. But it wasn't a deeper meaning. My mom wanted to do a painting for her sister, and my aunt got a chickadee on a giant saw blade. There you go. There's nothing to read into it. If you really want to stare at it for a bit, I'm sure you could come up with a meaning, but...
Yeah. So, what do you think about, when people start interpreting art and giving it all this meaning that it wouldn't have? Say somebody saw your mom's saw blade and, this is sophisticated, that she took something, harmful and then made it beautiful by putting the chickadee. Yeah, she did that, but if she didn't intend to do that, can it apply? I
think in terms of, I find it beautiful because this is what I see in it. But I think the danger you have with that is when you get to those really hoity-toity, my friend in college called them art holes.
Yeah.
Those galleries where say they put a toilet in the middle of the room and they say look at this fantastic expression and statement. You kind of get all right, calm down. It's not that impressive. I think you could say it speaks to the beauty of the piece, but at the same time, I think you have to acknowledge that, in the case of my mom's art, you found a folk painting on an object, and you just really enjoyed it, and you liked the juxtaposition.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't intend it, this is where I feel like we still didn't answer this question. If you don't intend it, it doesn't mean that we can't interpret that and enjoy our interpretation, but I guess if we use more of the art hole kind of line is where I'm thinking, say they're talking about a musician, it's he blended this pedal and this pedal, and it's they think he did this, he had the foresight, but really that's all he had at the time, so he just worked with what he had, and then people go back and revere it as genius, but it really was just out of necessity. I don't really... maybe I feel I would say that if you imply intent that wasn't there by the artist, it just doesn't make it so. Yeah, I think at that point you have to purchase the art, hang it on your wall, and say, this is why I like it. Yeah. But don't go around being look at this beautiful, wonderful thing. Can you stop praising my art as some kind of religious relic? I painted a chickadee on a saw blade. Well, I remember in high school we were reading The Lord of the Flies, and so we had to do interpretation of some passages of the book. And so they were working through this exercise as a class, and so some person's saying this and some person's saying this, and oftentimes when it's a book, it's to me pretty obvious. Even if it's cryptic, it's kind of clear where that came from. And so I raised my hand. I was is the guy who wrote this dead? And the teacher was no. I was why the fuck don't we just ask him what he meant? I don't get what a bunch of... I know what they were trying to do, but I also don't get the point of taking a bunch of 16-year-olds' interpretations of fucking Lord of the Flies and, you know, we're now somehow avant-garde. We know it better than whoever the fuck wrote Lord of the Flies.
I think it's interesting to do that exercise just because it encourages critical thinking and kind of intuition. You know, exploring the concept. But there is, I think it's Robert Frost that has a poem about, like, how... it might not be a Robert Frost poem. It might be a poem about Robert Frost poems. About how it's like, I just like the poem. Like, what if the trees just mean the trees? You know, definitely artists, poets, what have you, tend to read deeper into things. I think that there is, within our community, a bit of a kind of like an when you know that you're maybe a sham, like you seek to find deeper meaning because that makes you feel like you are a more sophisticated and a more knowledgeable creature. I think that might be a risk of being an artist.
It's kind of where I'm getting at, because it almost seems like for the sake of the artist, he should just write his own Coles notes. Be like, look, guys, stop going to fucking town on this. I wasn't talking about the government. It's literally trees, or these trees represented my grandmother. Something to that effect. Yeah, that's my bone to pick with that. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Banger here, Tony. Number 234 is music art. Why the fuck is this even being questioned, Krista?
I filling out the list, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, music is art.
Yeah.
Do you have an anecdote or a story? Because we've already discussed music at least twice in the last couple questions.
Even WAP in its fucking weird degraded form qualifies as art.
I think it's soulless.
It qualifies as music.
Yeah, it qualifies.
Yeah. It's not winning gold, but it's allowed to, you know...
Well, the problem is it's winning gold and a lot of
move on to elimination rounds. Yeah. I mean, it's shock factor. They're going to read about it in 20 years and they'll be like, you guys listen to that garbage? Be like, I didn't.
Well, it's the lowest common denominator, and she's catering to, well, idiots and morally bankrupt people, and in a time of society where being morally bankrupt is seen as the best thing to do to feed your hedonism, and, you know, because no one else in history has tried to fill the empty void of meaning with vapid intercourse and, you know, self-degradation and a lack of dignity, especially expounding it as personal empowerment. Like, no one's tried that before. Oh, but Cardi B will get it right this time. She only drugged and stole money from people. Like, get fucked.
She drugged and stole money from people?
I think it was Cardi B, yeah. She drugged men and stole from them, admitted it and bragged about it, and then everyone's like, well, it's not the same. Like, well, it's not that bad. Like, okay, well, then why is Bill Cosby in fucking prison?
Finally, the tables have turned. Yeah, let her run free.
Yeah, but feminism, you know, we're all equal.
Yeah.
Except she's above the law.
Yeah, except Cosby. Not equal. Well, number 235. Should artists be held responsible for the message of their art? Fucking jail Cardi B, I think, is what we're saying almost.
I don't know if... See, like, I don't want to lean towards censorship. Obviously, I'd rather her be away from anyone who would listen, but at the same time, stupid people are going to flock to the next dumb whore that pops her ass on stage, right? So,
yeah.
Should they be held responsible? No. Like, even speaking in a term of, like, if you have a song about killing people, right?
Yeah.
And someone goes out and kills them, it's kind of like, you didn't... If they were dumb enough to be led by that song, it's kind of like when they wanted to blame Columbine on Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
It's like, are you fucking dumb? Like, how is Marilyn Manson the bad guy in this situation? Like, the kids chose to listen to him, and yeah, they're impressionable teenagers. That doesn't mean that if they didn't listen to Marilyn Manson, they wouldn't listen to fucking Gigi Allen. And, you know, like...
Fucking Gigi Allen, yeah.
Yeah, what a... Yeah, what a creature he is, but...
Yeah. I mean, partly it's inherent that you are responsible for your message. It's just to what degree? Like, should you be punished for the... Because there was a famous case with Ozzy, that song Suicide Solution. Some kid killed himself, and then they tried to pin it on Ozzy. Didn't work, but there was a court case about it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think Ozzy is responsible to the extent of he knew the words that he was writing down. Like, he, I think, understood the concept. He understood enough to fucking coherently make it through the song and tell a story. So that's about as far as his responsibility goes. I would also say maybe his responsibility goes to then making the lyrics sound good with the music he chooses, but the responsibility is solely to the art, not to the interpretation of...
I haven't heard that song, so I can't speak too much, but at the same time, if that was... And this is just me, you know, without knowing the song, again, playing kind of devil's advocate, but...
Yeah.
If that was an expression of how he was feeling at the time, and that's how he was struggling through... Mm-hmm. Right, then it's like, oh, we're gonna hold you responsible for sharing your feelings.
Yeah,
like that's I'm not trying to say that kid should have killed himself or that, you know, but obviously that child had deeper issues that
it wasn't just Ozzy's song. Yeah,
well, and it's he would have if I really doubt that song was truly the thing that pushed him over the edge, you know. Obviously,
definitely not the thing that brought him to the edge. He brought himself to the edge.
You know what? Even so, that's a really good point. Even if that is what pushed him to the edge, it's not what brought him to the edge. Mm-hmm. So, like,
how you Ozzy's now responsible for that kid's upbringing. Like,
yeah,
motherfucker.
That's
real. Yeah.
Give your kid more hugs.
Yeah. Give your kid more hugs. Kids love hugs. Love you, Mom and Dad and all my family.
Yeah.
Anybody hugs me, I guess.
I do like giving hugs.
That's a good point. Alright, number 236. Are artists morally obligated to give trigger warnings if their art could mentally or physically negatively impact someone?
No.
Yeah, it's... No, because...
I don't... So, here's... Okay, and this is a little pet peeve of mine. I listen to a podcast called No Sleep sometimes. Not so much anymore. I haven't listened to it for a while.
Yeah.
It's a horror podcast.
Uh-huh.
They have trigger warnings on it. Mm-hmm. You'd think if you were seeking out a horror podcast...
Yeah.
You would be ready to deal with what comes up. Like, if you are a person, say, that is, you know... triggered, I hate to use that word, but, you know, has a negative reaction to stories about, say, sexual assault, maybe stay away from the horror genre.
Yeah.
You know, like...
It's such a simple fix we see these days.
Other than... Well, I guess... Okay, so here's my brain's turning.
A simple fix that should be applied.
But, like... You can't do official ratings on things, right?
Yeah.
Like... For every all the content that goes out now, like podcasts and you know, short clips on YouTube. So you could be like, warning, this has this in it. I don't know if that, like, to me, maybe that's a bit of a no, it's just semantics. Like, I don't like trigger warnings themselves, but, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they do it with movies all the time, right? There's R-rated and PG and, like...
Yeah, and they tell you what's in it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's the whole flashy, whatever I see trigger warnings and content warning, it's like this huge flashing, like, whoa, stop, hold up for a second, truly can brew a pot of tea, meditate, zone out, and or zone in, and think about what you're about to consume, instead of like, yo, there's sex, sexual assault, and nudity and smoking in this show. You know, like, just have it up in the left-hand corner. Now, morally obligated, I don't think so. Like,
no. The artists themselves, I mean, it all goes through a channel. Like, if it is, you know, highly public art that label's putting out, or a fucking, you know, a label, publisher, whatever, that's kind of on the publisher's job, I suppose. And they just do it because there's been idiots that have come before who've, you know, tried to accuse the art of their misconduct. And
yeah, like I heard one time... Ozzy did a song called Suicide Solution, and this kid killed himself.
Yeah.
Now, I think there should have been a content warning on that song.
Yeah.
You know, like, just a heads up, Suicide Solution. It mentions suicide.
Ozzy did it right there for them. So, yeah. Figure it out, people. Just fucking figure it out. Know yourself. Know what you can handle, and work within those parameters.
And that's the thing is, if you are that easily affected by media, it's kind of like if you have a peanut allergy.
Yeah.
Restaurants shouldn't take peanuts off the menu.
Yeah.
You know, like, have nut warning, sure, but like don't do a purge of these things off the internet or expect everybody to cater to you. Like when you come to our restaurant, you know, the servers don't ask like, "Oh, are you allergic to?" Wait, no, maybe they should ask if they're. Is my argument falling apart?
Like, the people who have a nut allergy are responsible to fucking figure out how to not die from the fucking peanuts.
Okay.
Same as, like, a gun. Like, you know, probably figure out how to not shoot yourself in the face with it. And if you don't want to figure that out, then just don't fucking go around guns. Like, that sounds fucking so base, but if that feels like it needs to be explained to you, just don't do what you probably shouldn't do. And especially don't do it if you don't fucking know anything about how not to do it properly. Like, work within your means.
Well, and just a little anecdote is like right now there's certain subject matter that I'm avoiding.
Yeah.
So when I'm on Netflix and I see a show or a movie, I'm like, is this really something that I want, or is it just going to make me feel like shit? Read the synopsis. All right. I'm not gonna watch that. Like, but if chances are the artists, if they're established, you already know what their music's going to be like, or their art is going to be like, or it shouldn't. You really already know what you're getting yourself into, or you should. If you're that sensitive, you should research the artist.
Yeah.
But then you have stuff like Instagram, where you know, like something triggering could just pop up in front of your eyes. Like, okay, so maybe just scroll. Like nothing's forcing you to stay in that situation.
Has, like, sensitive content.
They do?
Yeah. I've noticed it. Like, a couple pages I follow, if they're showing videos of, like, people getting beat up, and there's videos of people dying on the internet and shit, and so they do give the warning.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because we're getting into the waters of, like, should we all be responsible for one person's, like, outlandish sensitivities, you know? That person is kind of on them to...
Yeah.
And I guess, thankfully, if they've got some fucking cognitive disorder, they're usually too incapable of even leading themselves that well. So they've got a natural defense mechanism.
Well, again, if you're that sensitive, you should be doing the due diligence of monitoring and vetting what you absorb. And also, I kind of began to touch on it. No one's forcing you to continue to watch the content.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching a show called You.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the episode, it's like, warning, there's suicide in this episode. If you need help, call this number. And I'm not mocking that. Like, if you do need help, go get help. Don't kill yourself. But it's kind of like, you get to the scene and the guy's hanging himself. Like, he hung himself, and it's like, oh, okay. And I understand that, you know, obviously some people have much stronger reactions to suicide content than I do, maybe, but it's just like, so look away, you know, like, you know, and then fucking either turn off the show or look back when you think it's safe.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
So, be responsible.
Well, you know when you're a kid and you're watching a movie with your parents and they tell you to close your eyes? Like, I feel like that gives you the basic life skills to do that as an adult.
There you go. Listen to your mom.
Listen to your mom. Learn from close your eyes. Wait till that part's over.
Number 237. Should there be age restrictions on specific pieces of art?
than like movies, then yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about like public consumption, but you know, as we know, the internet is. Are you over 18? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just doing your due diligence, right?
Enter your birthday.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, there it is. Because in a way, I was like, I kind of want to see what would happen if we just didn't restrict anything. Like, shouldn't we just experiment with that to make sure to rule it out?
Well, we kind of already have.
And that's where I got to. Yeah.
Like, well, with public executions, they used to sell, like, when they were doing the guillotine, they'd have, like, little toy guillotines to give to kids and shit. As, you know, they go to the public execution, they'd have these, like, executioner's toys.
They probably had real fucking razor blades in them.
I think actually they did. I'm pretty sure that they were functional little guillotines, but that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Age restrictions, like, I don't think it hurts to have age restrictions. At the same time, you know, obviously when you're at home, then it's up to the parents or the kid who decides he wants to watch the R-rated movie when everyone's in bed.
Exactly.
So there's only so much you can do. If a kid wants to see something he shouldn't see, then he's going to.
If there's a will, there's a way. So, you know, put them on there. And
they'll
be as sufficient as they should be for
as
the respective viewer.
Capable as they can be in an age where everyone can just stream anything anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Done like dinner. 238. Should public nudity be acceptable when being presented as performance art?
I feel like this pertains to gay parades.
Is that what this pertains to? I mean,
well, I just see a lot of stuff about
them getting fucking naked.
Yeah, basically like gay pride parades being.
Do you have to click 18 before you saw this stuff?
Me or the kids?
You.
Oh no, this was just all over my Instagram.
The kids should have to click 18 or 18. I just don't even care about this. Should it be acceptable when being presented as performance art? The art better be fucking good. If you're gonna like cross some fucking questionable boundary.
Well, public nudity, but you know that not everybody has that integrity. Part of like, if you're getting naked for the point of performance art in public, you're an exhibitionist, right? Like you're doing it because you want to be naked and you want to cause controversy.
Yeah.
So on that note, I'd say no. Like you shouldn't. Like get over yourself. In this day and age, at least, like there's because people also just don't know where they should and should not bring their children. So like everything goes. So like, you know, you have gay pride parades. People are saying no, bring the kids there so they can watch these people in like kink gear and shit. And then they have like drag kid friendly strip shows.
Okay.
Where like drag queens are doing stripper routines. I don't know if they actually get naked or not, but they, you know, are obviously performing in a sensual or sensual manner. And it's kind of like, really? Like, is that how you get your rocks off? Like, I don't care if you're, you know, if you're a man in drag or a woman doing your thing or a dude just doing his thing. Like, do you really need to get your jollies by performing this kind of content in front of children?
There's typically a way around it, so, you know your fucking audience. I feel like this just falls under the age restriction thing. Like, if it's going to be part of it, 18 and over, that's the best we can do.
And what counts as public? You know, if you're talking, because I'm thinking like, if you're doing Shakespeare in the Park, probably everyone should have their clothes on. But if you're doing like I guess a couple weeks ago we had a burlesque show at the Caveau.
Yeah.
And if that involves nudity, you gotta, you know, be a certain age to get in and have a ticket, then go for it, be naked. Yeah. But like if you're actually out in public, like in a square, you know, like...
Yeah, I suppose. So if it is that the public can't be vetted and like guarantee that they're of legal age, then...
Yeah.
Not acceptable.
Yeah. I'd say.
There we go. Number 239, should everyone be able to interpret a piece of art as they see it, or is there a correct interpretation of an art piece? There's a fucking correct interpretation of an art piece. I'll just beat this dead horse until it's smithereens. I hate that. This just goes back to my story of us idiots, like, trying to talk about what fucking hobo who wrote Lord of the Flies said. Like, he fucking knows what he meant. So let's get him to fucking say what he meant. And if he doesn't, then, you know, use a different book for that exercise where the artist actually said what they meant. And what I think the best exercise would be to do, it's like, alright, you bring your interpretation, and then we give what the author actually meant. And so you compare notes, and that's how you would learn that lesson the best, because you could see where your mind went, and you'd learn more about your mind with that kind of exercise by being able to compare. If you're just fucking throwing out your answer, and they're not saying what the hell hobo fucking Lord of the Flies wrote, then you can feel like, like, you know, I did this, and like, I'm right. And that issue right there fucking stretches over a number of hot topics these days of people interpreting shit, and it's like, there's a correct interpretation of this, you know?
Yeah, I'd say that you're entitled to your interpretation, and like, it could be very true for you, but you then cannot say that my interpretation is the correct interpretation. Like, I find that you...
Yeah, sorry, I'm just turning night mode back on.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, because we're at that threshold.
Yeah. So, anyways.
No, basically, I think my thought's done. Is your interpretation is valid in your heart, and you could even express that to other people, but I think that it should be prefaced with what this says to me. You know, I find with... like, if you're trying to deal with absolutes, like, the author meant this, well, really, it's about this. It's just thinly veiled. Put in whatever ism you want. You know, like, then you're just, I think, you know, if you can interpret anything in the right or wrong way.
Yeah. I do think there's right way. And if the artist never spoke about it, then know that what you're interpreting is an interpretation.
Yeah. Be aware that you are not the be-all, end-all.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like intuition plays a huge part here, because you can usually pick up on the truth of what the artist meant. You just have to know how to remove your own judgments and feel into what is being said.
I was going to say, you're going to have to be very cautious of your biases.
Yeah. So there's always a way to correctly interpret art, and I hate you if you interpret it wrong and fucking stand on a soapbox and preach it.
Yeah.
Kick the soapbox out from underneath you and slap you, your mom, and your whole family tree. Maybe not your mom, but the rest of y'all. Alright, number 240. Is it morally wrong for museums to display art that depicts slavery? Why or why not?
Because it's art, and therefore being art is a part of history.
Yeah, because usually it's making a statement, and usually, you're going to be fucking blown away by this, the statement is against slavery. Don't shoot the messenger.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, so why not? Fucking, there you go. If it's somehow making a pro-slavery statement, yeah, take that shit out of the museum.
Well, honestly, though, I don't even know about that. Like, because it's still a part of history, and you can't just hide it. Like, leave it out in the open to be discussed and to be challenged.
But
like,
you wouldn't make it a pro-slavery statement. It'd be like an ironic pro-slavery statement.
Well, no, but I mean, like, say you had... If ever a Klansman were capable of art, if he did like a pro-Klans painting, right?
Yeah.
And you hung it, and you're like, this is a painting by this Klansman.
Yeah.
Like, this is what he thought. Then you have, for one thing, ammunition in your gun to fire against that kind of rhetoric, because then you can have an actual depiction of it and a solid effigy of that kind of thought process.
Yeah, kind of hang it in the shrink ward first, so the shrinks can all process it, and then you can hang it up in the museum after the shrinks have released their insights upon it. And then everybody can interpret it correctly, that this guy was touched by his father, and that is why it looks like what it looks like. Yeah?
I just think you should hang it, man. I'm not gonna go with the whole shrink thing. If that's what you want, you can say that. But I really don't. I don't think we should treat art with this kind of fear. We should hang it up to be reviled, to be mocked, to be glorified, to be exalted, whatever. But we should hang it up and let people decide what they want to
rotten veg stand next to the fucking Ku Klux Klansman art. Pelted.
If that's it. I mean, I'd have a layer of glass over it, you know, like it's still a piece of history, but
yeah, like a piece of history. All right, should art?
I just want to but just disclaimer: I'm not arguing for the Ku Klux Klan. That was just, you know what I mean? Like that was just a.
I mean, I still don't get it because you're not going to have like a pro-slavery piece, and if you do have a pro-slavery piece by a Ku Klux Klan member, it's like. It's demented art. I don't really feel like...
But if it's... Okay, so what I mean is, like, if you're talking about a museum, museums are devoted to history.
Yeah.
Right? So then, therefore, that painting, while it is vile, is a piece of history.
Okay, I guess I can kind of get that. Like, if
it's an art gallery, then no, you shouldn't hang it.
Yeah.
But if it's
like a
history,
Hitler museum and they have Mein Kampf on display, like...
Or his paintings or whatever,
yeah,
like, have those hung.
Yeah.
But what I'm make very clearly here,
okay.
It's a piece of history because it's a museum.
Yeah.
Hang the art because it is history.
Yeah.
Like if it's an art gallery and it's like, oh, we're accepting pieces. If a guy walks in with a swastika sharpie on his forehead, don't accept what he's giving you.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's like
fair.
I'm saying museum because it's history, not in a modern art gallery.
Yeah. So basically, it's not wrong if they depict slavery. They depict it in a glorified sense. Then understand the context of how that piece came to be.
Yeah,
and then,
that's what I'm saying is that when you hang it up, you don't hide away from it. You put it there, and then you can know your enemy a bit better because then you understand. If you understand their argument and understand their feelings, then you can better combat them.
Fair, I guess. This done by John A. Squigglebrains is a piece featuring Rosa Parks at the backer of the bus. I don't fucking know.
What?
There's a trailer connected to the bus, and he squiggle-brained his way to put her in the trailer. This is what I'm picturing when you're saying this, and we go look at him and we're like, I know my enemy.
The guy who doesn't know how to draw a bus.
The guy puts a trailer on the bus just so he can put Rosa Parks further in behind the bus. That's what I'm saying he's doing.
And then you could have someone do like Rosa Parks on a skateboard with dope sunglasses hanging onto the back of the bus, and then pulls her through the street.
And then it just progressively gets further and further. There's like more trailers and more skateboards and...
you could do a whole piece, yeah. You could have people being like really mean to Rosa Parks in some editions of the paintings, and then in other renditions you just have Rosa Parks like doing kick flips and nose manuals.
Yeah. And it's like actually the position where she was at the bus is like prime for the skate spots, and somehow it's like a twist. Ku Klux Klan members, there you go. Fucking figure it out. And we still might not.
How do we get to like the last episode of the series and then just, it's my fault. But anyway.
Well, should art taken as spoils of war be returned to the country it originated in?
Did they win it back?
Yeah, I mean, do they want it back? They probably want it back.
They probably want it back. Yeah, I guess that's a bit of a touchy subject with some people.
I honestly could give a fuck less.
That's
like, no? What?
I'm either or. Like that's how little I give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
Like it's not that I necessarily don't understand why you'd want that piece of art back. I also don't really care if you get it back or if you don't get it back. Mind you, that being said, if I truly cared about like Canadian art stolen by another country,
Yeah.
sure, I'll get mad about it because that's fun for a little bit, but like, I'm not going to hold a grudge over it, or, you know, I don't know, there's do what you want. If that's your idea of a hobby, get mad about it.
Hobby anger. I'm into hobby rage.
Well, that's basically what activism is. So, like, so go for it. Yeah, get angry. It's really bad that they have your art. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Attack them.
Yeah. Call Krista Brown.
Yeah, she'll lead the charge.
Mm-hmm.
She got hit on once.
Number 242. Is it wrong for educators to assign reading that demonstrates racism?
I don't think so.
No, it's called fucking education. Like,
same reason I want that shitty painting hung in the museum. Learn from it.
I mean, what is she talking about? To Kill a Mockingbird?
Which is funny because To Kill a Mockingbird is about like fighting racism, but everyone's too stupid to realize that it is.
Well, this is where I feel like this question comes from. It's not fucking teachers handing out Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but again, even if it did, like, then you understand his argument, then you can fight it. It's a, you know, like...
Yeah, but the war's already won.
Not against racism.
Well, against Hitler.
Yeah.
But
you can still learn...
Now we know our enemy, our dead enemy.
Well, there are still people that
really
follow his
get a leg up
though.
on that guy who's 6 feet under. The fucking pestering bastard. I do understand what you're saying, that you then know the other side and you can understand. And
that being said, I would definitely question a teacher who's just like, alright class, und now we will read Mein Kampf. Like,
yeah.
You know, like have a little bit of, you know, like...
Probably at least breaches the wrong section of the spectrum.
Yeah, you know, be discerning in your choice.
Yeah.
Right? But, that demonstrates racism, because that's the thing, is like, that's...
Yeah,
so
it's
many
too
books.
Fucking open-ended. Like, if it demonstrates racism, painting it as like this is this thing we did where, you know, we probably shouldn't do this anymore. All for it. If it's fucking like propaganda fueling people to be racist, no, that's obviously fucking wrong. Like, don't give that to them.
I think it depends on also the level of education that you're at. Like, if it's
later
in high school or in college. But when it comes to like demonstrates racism, could just be them using the word. There's a book that I have that's a delightful book called 3 Men in a Boat.
Yeah.
And it's these 3 dudes chilling on a Sunday afternoon, going for a picnic in a boat. But they use the N-word in one instance in the story.
Okay.
Therefore, that book demonstrates racism. Should you throw the whole thing out, or should you just be like, that's how people talked, it wasn't right, move on? Like...
The latter, yeah.
Nobody's like, you know, tying up nooses with their rope after reading 3 Men in a Boat. Like, no one's going out and committing hate crimes after reading that book.
Yeah. How are we, like, fighting left-minded arguments with this shit about art? Krista. Alright, number 243. Is it necessary to preserve history? Yes.
Yeah.
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 Number 244.
That's how you learn.
Is it morally acceptable to enjoy art made by someone who did horrible things?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking there it is.
I mean, there was a, like, obviously, and that I think is also, you have to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because there are some people that are truly vile that you probably... Like, there was one, I don't know the name of him, but he was this, like, bedazzled rock star or some shit.
Yeah.
And apparently he was, like, a committed pedophile.
Yeah.
And it's like, if his music is something you listen to on repeat all day, maybe understand that you need to diversify.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's nothing wrong with enjoying a song or two. You know, to me, like... Don't idolize the person, understand what they did wrong, but art is art, and as vile as what they did may have been, it doesn't stop the art from being beautiful so long as you don't condone or support their actions.
Look into the horrible things too, because sometimes they're painted as much more horrible than they actually were.
That's true too. You need to be discerning. Like, people lie. People exaggerate.
Yeah.
All the time.
So.
All the time.
Know your enemy, as Tony would say.
Yes, that's me. I came up with that one.
Number 245. Why do people enjoy looking at art? Fuck off, Krista.
Same reason they enjoy being happy, Krista.
Number 246.
Alright, well, okay,
Should
but...
we be concerned about her? Like, is she asking this
You can tell when the Ritalin, like, wears off and when it kicks in.
Yeah.
But why do people enjoy looking at art? Because they like beauty. I also think that art, we were talking about expression, I think interpretations are also... Art gets people thinking, it gets people feeling.
Yeah.
That's why people enjoy art. It's also a form of escapism.
It's a healthy form of escapism.
Yeah. Well, unless, you're reading Mein Kampf while staring at Ku Klux paintings, but...
Yeah, that's probably not going to yield the best life decisions. I am psychic.
Yeah. Don't
But I don't need to be for
the
that.
Klan.
Yeah. Number 246. Why does music connect people? Well... there's the obvious generational thing, like
shared experience, shared interest.
Yeah. So there it is. Can connect you to your peers because you're there when something comes out and you all enjoy it. So.
I hear a lot about people going to concerts and talking about the energy and being caught up in the energy and the power of just having that many people around so excited. Like that must that must reverberate into you at some point or some way.
Yeah.
Also music, because of the lyrics or even just the sound of the music, invokes emotions and feelings which obviously are relatable to each other. What you relate one to another, and it makes you feel better. A couple songs that we like at work, one guy and I, we play a song from Disney's Robin Hood. Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other has to say. Talking about that and this and this and that. Ooh lolly golly, what a day. Like, that's a very calm song.
Yeah.
That's, connects. He and I have a connection about that song. It's just like, all right. After we listen to that minute and 34-second song from a Disney animated film in the 60s or 40s or whenever, like, it just take a deep breath and get going.
You basically just synthesized it to music is emotional, and we all have emotions, and the emotion being portrayed by that music, if you have experienced that emotion before, you're going to connect to it, and chances are if you've experienced that emotion, just like the artist has experienced the emotion in which he's expressing, thus making art, you will connect with him and connect with the other people connecting to him. It's just we're all sharing in the experience together.
Yeah, and that is true too, because you're sitting there like, wow, this is so good. Also, music is a drug. And if I know one thing about drugs, it's fun to do them with other people.
There we go. Music is a drug and it should be hung in museums. So, figure that out, science. Number 247, should music be beautiful? Ideally, yeah.
Ideally, Yoko Ono would never have a career.
Yeah, fucking noise music. You ever hear noise music? Just random fucking like clinks and just, there's people who like it. I don't fucking understand that much myself, but...
But beauty, as we've discussed, is subjective, right?
To a degree. To a degree, I will argue.
But, well, like I said, Yoko Ono is right out. So obviously there is a rock bottom.
Yeah. Know your enemy.
Yoko Ono. Is
Rock
she
bottom.
dead?
No, she's not dead.
She isn't? One of the greater pities of our generation.
Yeah. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Or it was John Lennon that got shot.
Jesus Christ.
What, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
Didn't he?
Should we preserve history? Apparently we didn't preserve it well enough. Yeah, he got shot. Fuck's sakes.
What? I don't know music.
It's John Lennon though. You know Yoko Ono.
Yeah, because she's a horrid troll person.
Yeah, so some argue that the wrong fucking person got shot, but we're not here to make that statement.
Well, I think John Lennon was a piece of shit too, but they should have gone after Yoko Ono.
Yeah, the John Lennon that you don't know is dead or alive is now a piece of shit.
Look, I knew he was a piece of shit, not whether he's dead or alive.
They told you fucking vehemently that he was a piece of shit, and then left you with the cliffhanger whether he was fucking alive or not. The fuck are you reading?
I just had to...
National Enquirer.
Listen,
recently deceased
I'm very
John Lennon
juicy about my information
to continue being a piece of shit.
I like to live in mystery. Okay?
Yeah. You just skip whole paragraphs of the article.
I don't read articles about John Lennon.
I'm mysterious. I only read 40% of that fucking article.
I'm quirky. Well, I knew... Okay, listen, I just forgot that I knew he was dead, alright? It's not the same thing. I knew he was dead, I think.
Do you think Elvis is alive?
No, my dad saw him in Vegas. Well, that doesn't help my case.
Yeah, it doesn't say yes or no. No, you knew he died,
yeah.
But he's actually alive.
Elvis died on the toilet.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Should music be beautiful? Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 248, is it essential for art to make a statement? No. Krista,
Didn't we discuss that earlier?
Question here, yeah. Should fucking...
Does art need to make a statement or have a deeper meaning?
Fuck off, Krista. You know, there's some parts of this list I am not going to miss. Yet, I have a hunch that if we keep probing through this site, we may find some familiar tactics in the other lists.
Yeah, okay. That's, yeah.
Yeah. So, number 249, would it be music if you and your friends were to hit pots and pans randomly?
I'd say that's more sound engineering.
Yeah, to some idiot, they call it music. You get somebody on enough fucking Molly and you do anything that makes noise, yeah, you're gonna have a fucking banger to them, so, you know.
Is Molly MDMA?
Yeah.
You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Number 250, if it comes together when you're hitting pots and pans and sounds nice, would it be music? Yeah, it would be more fucking music than the first. But again, that just means your friend needs less Molly to fucking enjoy your pots
I feel
and pans.
like this is like basically human evolution, but on a musical level, like...
Yeah.
Like... It's like at one point or another you're going to either be a Yoko Ono, like you're either going to stay a Yoko Ono or you're going to develop actual music, and then you're going to realize pots and pans you can develop a better way to make music.
Well, there's this famous quote written on the wall at my friend's jam space, and it said, "You're either Led Zeppelin, or you're Michael Bolton." I think that pretty much hits the nail on the head here.
Who's Michael Bolton?
Exactly. So.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to know who he is.
Some people do, but you know,
is he dead? Did someone shoot him after reading Catcher in the Rye?
Yeah, that's how that happened, isn't it? How
yes.
do you fucking know that was the
because
details of how it happened?
Because I told you,
asked me
it's
if he was
not
alive.
not that I didn't know he was dead.
They told me how he died. I just didn't know if he died.
I forgot that I knew. I'm allowed to have lapses in memory, okay?
Yeah, and then remember how he died.
Okay, look.
What kind of memory lapse is this? You've developed a new breed, Tony.
I am the new breed. I will conquer the world.
Yeah. You'll remember how to conquer the world and then forget to do it.
Yeah, but then I'll come back and I'll know exactly how I did it.
Yeah, well, I think you still just forget how to do it. Or forget to do it. You always remember how to do it.
And perhaps that is God's great gift to man. Yeah. That I will not conquer the world.
Every time you think of John Lennon, you remember how he died. You just don't remember if he's dead.
Never gonna let this one down. Really caught me in the ride.
Number 251. If there is a room full of people talking, could that be categorized as music? No. There will be some douchebag who says it is, but he's not right.
He's not right at all. He should be categorized in the right.
And hang him in a museum.
Yeah.
Literally.
By his arms.
Mm-hmm.
And tickle his feet.
Yeah.
With chocolate.
With Yoko Ono.
With Yoko Ono. That'd be the loudest broom in existence.
Tickle him with John Lennon's beard.
Yeah. His living beard.
Yeah. Just connected to his questionably alive body. His ambiguously alive body.
I'm not quite sure. You might be fine.
Number 251. If there's a room full of people talking, could that be categorized as music?
No.
If you're a pretentious douchebag, then yes.
You are Yoko Ono.
Yeah. But the real answer is no. What is the difference between good taste in art or music and bad taste?
Thought.
Yeah. How much you know, how much you feel.
Genuine thought and understanding. Because again, like with art holes, it's like, oh, you don't know. And it's all really a facade. They really don't care about the feeling either. They're just trying to get high off their own self-importance, right? Yeah. But the difference is like good taste and bad taste is, I think, like the depth of your appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, stupid people can appreciate things, too, and have a genuine degree. But obviously, a lot of stupid people nowadays are just liking Cardi B.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. This basically just adds to your point, but it's another shade of the whole package. Sometimes there's people who can feel really deep but not articulate how they feel as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they would then have good taste in music but not maybe be able to explain it in some of the ways in which...
You know what? And I think sometimes you shouldn't have to explain your taste. Sometimes your friend likes synthwave and that should be good enough for you.
Not in this universe. Where'd this happen?
Happens in a very healthy friendship.
Did it happen at John Lennon's funeral?
I wouldn't know. I don't know.
At his recent birthday. Yeah, you can still find a way to love your friend even if he listens to synthwave.
It's just, I don't like getting caught up in lyrics, and synthwave helps me feel.
I fucking hate people who say they don't listen to the lyrics in a song.
I said I didn't.
That's not putting that on you. You've never said that to me.
No.
You're not in this fucking camp.
Okay, I had to jump on that before, nip that in the bud right there.
Yeah, jump on that before John Lennon dies. Get in under the bell. I never, to me when I listen to music, it's automatically the lyrics are being explained in my head.
I always have a hard time knowing what they're saying. I just have a tricky time.
I mean, if it's inaudible, that's a different thing.
Well, I find, even with songs, people will be like, listen to the music, or listen to the lyrics, man, and I'll be like, okay.
Just zone out?
Well, no, but I'll just be like, I'll hear just not. I don't know why I'm impersonating Yoko Ono, but I just hear noise, and it's I kind of get it. I'm like, okay, I get that this is supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah, your mind starts to drift.
Well, because then
wondering if John Lennon's still alive.
Anyway. I have trouble, it's certain bands, that's I think why I gravitated to Rob Zombie and Disturbed in high school, because I could actually understand the fucking lyrics.
There you go. Alright. Can cooking be a form of art?
Yep.
We already fucking answered this, Krista. Yes, it can.
Well, and...
Yeah. Boiled grilled eggplants. Art. Or insanity. Let your taste buds be the judge.
War crime. Are war crimes art? On this episode of Smugglers Cove.
Yeah. They are educational. Number 254. What is the critical difference between a functional and artistically designed room? Well, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like, if it's just artistically designed and it's still a room, there's just no chairs. It's a gallery.
I was thinking
that's functional as a gallery.
But
how do you make a room that is non-functional?
Does she mean like a circle room?
Like a sphere? Can't really stand right anywhere?
Yeah. You could, yeah.
That, I suppose.
Between functional and artistically.
It's a room because it has a door.
But also,
it functions.
I don't understand architecture enough for me to then be like, okay, so, because I assume even like this room that we're in now, like it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
But it is also functional.
Yeah.
But I assume that, that little bit of wall there was artistic by design.
No, they blew that section out. That's why that wall lines up to that piece. They blew it out to make it recess and install a closet. But I think we can answer this with architecture. Architecture. These idiots draw up these designs and then bring it to the contractors, and the contractors are like, alright, we can do this, this, and this, but this floating bridge you have, we can't do this because it's not supported by anything. We don't have means of anti-gravity yet. Like, that's where maybe this question could be answered of like, if your building is going to fall apart as soon as it's assembled, then yeah, that's the critical difference between functional and artistic.
Well, what's the critical difference between a functional and artistically designed room? Well, functionality.
Yeah, that it will exist.
One's aim is to be functional, and one's aim is to be aesthetically pleasing. That's what I would say the critical difference is. I don't know if that's even.
I mean, fair. You can just have it functional and then not look as nice as it could. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, like get rid of the trim on that door. Or the baseboards, and just have it shitty normal baseboards.
Yeah, prison cell. Just have to be a prison cell.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is, are you in jail? Maybe.
I don't know, this question kind of threw me for a loop.
I really think I answered it well when I said the difference is, will it fucking stand on its own after it's built? Because I think this is going with the architects, and they're designing this nice, beautiful, elaborate building, but then, the doors don't open because they're on fucking weird-ass angles, and, like, the window keeps fucking falling out because there's nothing securing it. Like, that's the critical difference is when you're doing it artistically, you can just draw it, and I'm also basing this, like, you're bringing the blueprint. You've drawn it artistically, made it look super nice, and then the builder's like, we literally can't do this. Your answer works too, that it's like, you can just have a functional space that has no soul to it.
You put form over beauty, yeah. But, like, it's almost like the answer is in the question. What's the difference between art and functionality?
Yeah.
Functionality is there to be practical for no other purpose than to be practical.
Gray walls.
Art is there to, obviously bring a feeling to the room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be good to have a nice meld of both.
Yeah.
But I think, because of the way that our furniture is made and how Tetris works, our rooms are mostly square. Or square-ish or rectangles because that's how furniture will fit in well. Like it's easier to build structures with the set corners as opposed to having rounded walls. That being said, you could still have that and have like egg-shaped chairs.
Yeah.
it wouldn't be as functional because you can't stack things as efficiently. But if you want to fill your room with boxes,
it'd be harder to find shelves.
So shelves.
The critical difference is functionality.
Yeah, that's what I got.
All right. Thanks, Krista. Da 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 da. Number 255.
We made it.
We almost. This could be fucking sending us for a 40-minute tangent on whether John Lennon's still alive. Luckily, we've already covered that, so we're probably in the clear.
He's still alive. Yeah, he's got you on a ride.
Is it possible that one person sees John Lennon alive and one person sees John Lennon's dead? If they both learn to call it John Lennon, will they ever know if he's alive? That wasn't as funny as I hoped. Is it possible that what one person sees as yellow is what Is it possible that what one person sees as yellow is what someone else sees as green, but they've both learned to call it yellow, so they will never know? Like, is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. You fucking grow up in, like, caged and homeschooled, and your dad tells you fucking green's yellow.
Yeah.
And you die at that family home.
I keep thinking of my friend when I learned he was colorblind.
Mm-hmm.
Was we were at Centennial Park, and you know that train.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he's like, "Where's Luke?" I was like, He's over on that beige block there." My friend goes, "Do you mean that green thing?" I look at him and go, "Are you fucking colorblind?" He goes, "Yeah." And that's how I learned. I'd known the guy for like 3 years. I was like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" He's like, "Yeah, it's green to me." Like, it's beige. Like, how the fuck can you mix those up? But apparently that's a color that gets to it.
It happens.
What's really cool is that he does really cool things with color theory. I was like, "How do you do it?" He's like, "I use the color wheel."
Match them up. So then, in a way, it's not possible, because you can use the color wheel and fucking learn the universal agreements of what yellow is versus what blue is versus what green is, even if you can't distinguish it.
I saw, what was it? I saw a pretty interesting video on, like, you do have different cultures that focus on, like, there's one culture in Africa, I think, that, like, they have so many different words for different shades of green, and then it was like, okay, they showed the color wheel of, like, what we would see, like, okay, point out blue, and we're like, okay, that one's blue. Pretty obvious. But then they showed it to this tribe, and they were, like, lost. They, like, couldn't figure it out. But then they were like, okay, so you think that's crazy? Alright, then they showed, like, pick out the wrong one here. And it showed what this tribe would be used to seeing, and it's like, it's this one. I was over on the other side of the wheel. I was like, oh, because they had so many different words and understandings of the shades of green that it was easy for them to pick out the odd one out for them.
Yeah.
But it is like perception and upbringing. So this, I think, is quite possible.
Yeah.
But you're in for a fucking culture shock if you ever meet.
Yeah.
Especially if your friend is colorblind and doesn't tell you these things.
Agree. I agree that it is possible.
Yeah.
I don't think it fucking, doesn't matter, I guess, until I meet.
Well, chances are you're going to be in such drastically different cultures that you're not going to have that interaction, right?
That's a fair point.
So,
yeah.
It's 255 questions. Should we see what her final thoughts are?
Let's give her another moment of her time.
Oh,
wow.
Caleb. Oh, Caleb. All right, may I?
Yes, you may.
Give me a moment, dear listeners. Krista's final thoughts. Talk about philosophy with other people. because I'm sure this is how she makes all of her friends and discourages anyone else from hitting on her. When it comes to challenging topics like those raised by philosophy and Krista Brown, like how can she have a job writing, it can be helpful to talk through them with others. Others can help raise perspectives that you may not have considered yourself. Philosophical questions can also make for interesting conversations with people you already know relatively well. Just remember to be respectful of people who have different viewpoints. I feel like she wrote that after she watched our podcast. Here are some ways you can use these questions. Over dinner with a few friends, with your significant other, with a daughter, son, niece, nephew, or another child in your life, because you couldn't just say that. If you're hosting a dinner party and want to talk about something a little less serious, consider using one of these 257 questions.
What the fuck?
To ask your friends.
So, where it ended, it begun.
Well, you have to...
No?
Well, I don't know. This is...
I think so.
Is this what we're going to do?
Random questions to ask your friends about their interests? Yeah. There's fucking 30 of them.
And it's 257.
Mm-hmm.
She really likes the 250s.
She likes the odd number 250s. I wonder, you know what probably happens? At the end of this, it's like, check out this list of 259 questions to ask John Lennon.
Please keep me with a job. 30 juicy questions.
Is this at 30?
Alright, but we can't be spoiling too many things here, Caleb.
Yes, fair. Okay.
So, with that,
I
think maybe it's time for the Russian word of the day.
Yes.
If you want to jingle us in while I find an appropriate word. Здравствуйте, мои друзья. Today's Russian word comes from Russian slang by Russian classes on Instagram. The word of the day is, well, phrase, is не прет. Не прет. And that means, I have no luck. Much like in understanding if John Lennon is alive or dead. Не прет. I got nothing for you. There's just John Lennon who lives in a limbo like Schrodinger's cat. And with that, we thank you for staying with us through this wonderful journey of 255 philosophical questions. It ends season 1 today, or series 1, whatever we're going to call it. And next week we begin anew with the 13th episode. So thank you very much for being with us as we began this journey. And we thank you for continuing along with us as we keep forging the path to greater understanding of Krista Brown and all the little things going on in her head meat.
And ourselves, maybe.
And ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, they are questions to ask your friends.
Yeah. Now we get juicy questions to ask our friends.
Whew.
Yeah. First we had polarizing questions.
True.
Yeah. The litmus tests on how to find out if your friend's a liberal. And now...
It really is, yeah.
Now we find out if they still like you.
Can you imagine just like pulling out 257 questions at a dinner party? Like just like, guys, I've got this.
Ding, 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 ding. Krista here. God's sakes.
Who invited her? No one get drunk and hit on her. This is how we got her back. But thanks for dropping by, guys. And
Love you all.
I love you all. Thank you for your support. Hit the like button. Drop us a comment. And come back and see us next time on Smugglers Cove. See you soon.